Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here in the workshop, preparing the mid rails to be cut for their wedges. So that brings up an interesting topic. This is a hand drill. Some people used to call it an egg beater drill. I believe this one, because it's painted maroon, it was made about the time I was working in the hardware store. So I believe this is my original. I do have 4 or 5 other older ones, and I need to choose one to keep. So we may do a video on that. But this is cordless, non-electric, and it does the job just fine. By the way, my temporary workbench is a slab of laminated 2x4s, 12 inches wide, and I think about 5 foot long. And I tell you, I've heard people say, my workbench doesn't need a tool well. Yep, 5 foot long. Well, if you need about 12 inches of work surface, let's just say, and then you have all these tools, and I have more in front of me. I put my ruler down. What would be the tool well? I've got my square. And what would be the tool well? I've got my hammer. And what would be the tool well? Another little double square. I even have a flashlight. All right? And I just put my drill down in what would be the tool well. And I got a scrap piece of wood, and I got a scrap piece of plywood, all in what would be the tool well. So if you didn't have a tool well, all of that would end up on your workbench, or possibly on a rack next to you, or on a rack in front of you, if you're that orderly. The nice thing about a tool well is if you've got a long piece of wood and it's on your 12-inch work surface and you slide it forward, you're not knocking tools off onto the floor. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to mention, see, I'm going to place my little hand plane down in the tool well. So when I was pounding the other day, putting wood through the dowel plate, I was on 2 big blocks of maple on top of a piece of plywood on top of the table saw. Then I put this on. Okay. If I could have, let's just dream a little bit. If I could have but one wish in life, it would be a workbench made of wood that is so thick and so dense and so heavy, it acts like a big wooden anvil. All right? I could tap on it anywhere, see? And I wouldn't have tools rattling. You ever notice sometimes somebody's doing a YouTube video and they're over here chiseling and the camera's shaking? 2 reasons for that. One, it's on their workbench or table saw or whatever, and it's vibrating. Or they're on a wooden floor and the floor is vibrating. They have to hang the camera from the ceiling. So that is one consideration that I have right now for my new workbench. How thick do I want to make it? Typically, and I don't know where they are right now. A holdfast requires a holdfast requires a bare minimum. Let me see, how thick is this? All right, that's about it. That's 1 7/8. It requires at least about 2 inches, okay, to function. 2.5 would be better. 3 is perfect, but 2 would work. 1 3/4 will work. I think even down to 1.5 will work. So if you build your workbench from 2x material, like 2x8s, 2x10s, whatever, these will still work, but they don't have the same gripping power as they could. Whoops. So there's that. Now, that was me digressing into a dream of what I think would be absolutely fantastic. So what I've done is I have marked lines where I want to cut the kerf for my wedges. I have drilled a 1/8 inch terminus hole. In other words, where you want the cut to stop. That hole will help prevent the rest of the wood from splitting when you are putting the wedges in. So I've fixed my hand screw here. Oh, let me show you. By taking a piece of plywood and bringing the front leg of the hand screw flush with the plywood and flush on the face of the workbench. So that gives me 3 3/4 of an inch of registration. So I can take and use this as if it were any ordinary vise. Ta-da! Okay, it's not going anywhere. And then I pulled out one of my smallest. This is I'm pretty sure it's a Gaiokochu, made in Japan. Let's see. I don't know what I did with the packaging. Doesn't matter. It's a razor saw. I'm not sure if it was designed for ripping or cross-cutting. That's it. When you reach the hole, you're done. Ideally, you would want something like a tenon saw or a square dovetail saw, or you could even do this on the bandsaw. Bandsaw would be really slick. It would be nice to have the bandsaw in here. That is, if I don't sell it. So let me know your thoughts on a workbench top. Now, there are ways to stiffen part A and B, done. There are ways to stiffen a workbench top, and if your workbench base is made substantial, you can get rid of a little bit of the springiness and the vibration while using thinner wood. And then there's always sandbags. Lighting in here stinks. You can see, but I can't see because I got nothing but shadow over here. There we go. If you have ever worked on a stump, okay? So you have a stump of a tree, or like a cutoff from making firewood, and you have it set level on the ground and it doesn't wobble. It's heavy, it's sitting there. And if you've ever worked on that, you can pound on that and it doesn't vibrate. That's what I would love as a workbench. That's it. The kerf's a cut. Now, it's off to the bandsaw to go make wedges. Why am I going to the bandsaw? Because I have one still. So A and B, C and D, all done. And that brings up another topic, as I digress. Drill bits. Drilling the bits. All right. Growing up, I think I've talked about this once before. All we had was your typical metal drill bit with your angled tip, which I think is set at like 180, no, 30, 60 degrees, something like that. I'd have to look it up. You can look it up to see what machinist drill bits are ground to. And that's all we had. If this tip was not sharp and you didn't go slow into the wood, you would have fuzzy fibers at the entry, and then you'll have spelch or blowout on the exit. Then they came up with the brad point bit. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a twist drill that's sharpened a little different, and it has a point in the center. And there are all different kinds of these, and they all cut different. The original hand augers, they were a twist, and they had a flat that would slice the wood out, and then they had a little wing on it that you had to keep razor sharp that would sever the fibers of the wood as it went around before the scoop took it out. So a drill bit was nothing more than a chisel actually 2 chisels. There was one chisel upright that would, like a gouge, it would go around and it would cut the leading edge. Then there was a second chisel that came in behind and scooped the wood out. So the original augers were nothing more than 2 chisels. At least that's how you would sharpen them, like you would sharpen a chisel. And then they came up with different sawtooth drill bits for cutting larger holes, like in metal. They're called hole saws. And Forstner bits, and then combination of Forstner bits and hole saws. So there's all kinds of ways to create holes. So that's about it. Let me get out to the bandsaw and cut some cherry wedges. Yeah, these are going to be cherry. So if you found something helpful, useful, maybe entertaining, hey, don't that. Okay, quiet up there. Like, subscribe, and share the video. Walter out.